Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the On the Sideline podcast with Jackson and Kyle. I am Jackson, and I'm joined here, as always, by the man who is ready to cheer against Baker Mayfield. How dare you? Kyle, how's it going?
Doing fantastic. Yes, down with Baker this week. We are anti-Baker now for this week, and let's get to it.
Don't say we. Okay, you are.
No, we are. The fans of the On the Sideline podcast are with me on this one.
Okay, maybe we'll see the Team Kyle versus Team Jackson divide, I guess.
Are the Patriots America's team? People are saying.
No one's saying that. No one has ever once even thought about that. Maybe not since they beat the greatest show on turf back in 2001.
Yeah, I don't know. I think everybody's ready to root for the Patriots again. That's my opinion.
Well, I do have to say, I think enough time has passed that people are like if you guys win one Super Bowl, you're back to hated. I think even if you go to a conference championship game, maybe, but I think Patriots Chiefs, everyone's rooting for the Patriots for sure, and I think even Patriots Bills, you probably have America on your side. You're kind of America's team.
We're American adjacent.
You're America's okay.
Zoran Mondani's America is rooting for us. That's why.
Okay, maybe. Kyle, we have a ton to get to. We have as I talked about, alluded to earlier, we have the On the Sideline Bowl. We had maybe the greatest trade deadline of all time as 3 first-round picks changed hands, which I don't think has ever happened before. All of those involving the Jets. So we'll get into all of it. I guess let's start off as we always do with the Monday night game, which kind of also brings us to the Dallas Cowboys. I mean, a weird game. So Jacoby Brissett plays well. We'll talk about all of that. I think the Cowboys in the trade deadline and all that stuff kind of has to be brought up. Where do you want to exactly start here, Kyle?
Yeah, I mean, it feels like a completely different Cowboys team after that point. But I think it comes down to the thing is that the offense has definitely cooled off a little. And I don't think Dak's playing bad or anything like that. But the offense has cooled off enough to where this team is just cratering. Because this team was built on, they basically had to score 30, 40 points to win games. And they weren't doing that the last 2 weeks, and it hasn't looked right. And they got off to a bad start in this game, and the Cardinals took advantage and pretty much coasted the rest of the game. Offense played well for Arizona, as offenses tend to do against Dallas. So, yeah, Dallas went into this trade deadline, and I personally think panicked a little bit, but I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that this is a fundamentally flawed team that is now looking more flawed because the unrealistic pace the offense was playing with the first 6 weeks of the season is now catching up to them.
Yeah, it's almost like the Cowboys have just become what we thought they would be preseason, right? Preseason, we're like, okay, this is a pretty good offense and a really bad defense. And then it's the first few weeks, it's oh my God, this offense is awesome. They're the new Bengals, they can compete because their offense can keep up with anybody. And it turns out, no, this offense kind of can't keep up with everybody. So now now it's back to what we thought it would be, and it's just not, it hasn't quite been there.
Yeah. And to be fair, again, nobody on the offense side of the ball, I think still deserves any blame. They didn't play their best game. I don't think it was the best game from the group, but this is still a problem with the other side of the ball that is now holding this team back significantly. And it was earlier in the season as it was because they were still under 500 with their offense playing at an insane pace. But now it's even worse because the offense can't play, is asked to do something that basically no NFL team can do, which is score 40 points a game. So, yeah, I just think it's a flawed team. And then they go into the trade deadline with it and they make a couple moves and, you know, did they get a couple pretty good players? Potentially. Yeah, I think so. Do I think they panicked a little bit with those moves? Absolutely.
Yeah, we can use this as a transition for the trade deadline. We'll talk about Arizona too, but I mean, it's just weird. And this was my take when I kind of defended the Micah Parsons trade from the Cowboys' perspective. Was I still said, but this isn't going to work because they're not going to do smart things with what they've. With their situation, in a vacuum, it's not a horrible trade. It's just I don't trust the Cowboys to take advantage of it. And yeah, now you're trading for Quinnen Williams, who's a great player. And listen, him and Logan Wilson are under contract for this year and the following 2 seasons. So that's, I think, an important thing to note. So everyone's saying well, you're 3-5-1. I'm assuming these are for future years, but it's confusing as to what the plan is for the Dallas Cowboys.
I don't get it either because yeah, like you said, you're trading future. The whole point of the Parsons trade was like, oh, look at all these picks now we have for the next 2 years to rebuild this thing, and we're going to make a better defense because you know what? You could even argue on Jerry Jones' behalf if you trade Micah Parsons, this defense was bad with Micah Parsons last year,
Mm-hmm.
and it's gonna continue to be bad. So you might as well just try and stockpile as many picks as you can to rebuild this thing. And you can argue that for sure. But the problem is that now you're trading those picks for a lesser defensive lineman who's still pretty good, but your team's built through Kenny Clark and Quinnen Williams in the middle, and then you don't have pass rushing at this point, and you still have weaknesses in the secondary. So I just think it's a weird kind of roundabout ways to solve no problems.
Right. Yeah. It's just I don't fully get it. Don't know. It's weird. Don't want to try and get in Jerry Jones' head. Don't like that idea.
Yeah, I don't think anybody in the Jones family likes getting in his head.
No. Yeah. Very bizarre. The Cardinals are also a weird team right now. So Jacoby Brissett, like, I think the offense has looked better with him out there. Like, granted, again,
Hmm.
getting to play Dallas Cowboys defense is a big part of that, I think. But still, he played well against the Colts and the Packers. Like, it's not just that situation. And you do kind of think like that 49ers game, they lost by a point. If that flips, if they don't blow the game against the Titans, they're in a playoff spot. Granted, you can do that for a lot of teams, but like that's where they're at. Is there any hope for Arizona, who does not have a very easy schedule? Pretty much every game feels losable. Even the Bengals game, second to last week of the season, Burrow might be back by then. So it's hard to see exactly the pathway, but like, is there any hope here for Arizona at 3-5?
There's some. It's a tough schedule, though. It is a tough schedule to kind of come back from. They would have to be, because they play San Francisco again in a couple weeks. They have to win these division games, and that's
Yeah.
something they haven't done well the last couple seasons. They have to get those and then beat some of these teams in front of them for sure. I think your argument for Arizona is, like you said, I think the last 3 weeks they've actually played really well. I think they've played really good ball the last 3 weeks. They looked really good in this game. Like I said, I think they kind of coasted in the second half of that game to victory. And then the last 2 weeks before that, I mean, they came out on the losing end, but it was also against the Colts and the Packers, who are two of the better teams in the league. And they played basically throw for throw with both of those teams. So you could argue that Arizona the last 3 weeks has played like a playoff team. I'm just wondering if it's too little too late, because this is beginning to look like the team that we also kind of envisioned in the preseason, where you see this Marvin Harrison Jr. breakout. You see Trey McBride, that steady force over the middle. You have Josh Sweat and Calais Campbell doing so much on this defensive line as well. Josh Sweat had a great game in this one. But I just don't know if it's going to be enough at this point when you're down this far.
Yeah. It's fascinating. Let's move on. Let's get into do you want to talk trade deadline at all, or do you want to just maybe talk about those trades as we get into the games?
We could talk a little bit about it. I don't see why not. So yeah, I mean, obviously there's a lot of movement. We talked about the Cowboys movement, so we don't have to talk about that too much.
Mhm.
But we didn't get to my two favorite trades, which were obviously the two biggest other names besides Quinnen Williams getting traded. I thought was Rashid Shaheed and Sauce Gardner. It was a lot for Sauce Gardner. That was surprising. And obviously because he just got paid in the offseason, that was more surprising. But I do like the intention from the Colts to say, you know what? We don't care about the one loss. We have played really well this season. We have a team that we think is good enough to make a move, and they go ahead and go for it. So it's a lot. It's a big haul. I think the Jets did really well this trade deadline. And they probably should have traded Breece Hall too for a 4th-round pick even. But I thought it was a good job by the Jets kind of trying to rebuild this thing and start over. I don't trust the Jets, but it's an intention to start over that I like.
Yeah, I think I think we'll take it from the Jets perspective. I agree. I think it makes sense. I mean, the flips, like, I think I don't know what happened with Sauce Gardner's like reputation, but I feel like he's still a really good corner. The guy's played 4 seasons. He's been an All-Pro twice. Now he hasn't, and like he's probably playing at a Pro Bowl caliber level this season. So like I don't see any reason why he's not going to be great for the next, he's 25 years old for the next at least 6 seasons or so with Indianapolis. But again, for the Colts, for the Jets, I think the logic is we might not be good for the next 3 years. So let's get a couple of picks and get guys who, then we're now all of a sudden, one of the guys we built our team around is 28. It's like, it's not a bad strategy there. So yeah, I think for the Jets getting 3 first-round picks, listen, we'll see if it works out. But you think about Aaron Glenn from the Dan Campbell coaching tree. How did the Lions get turned around? It was in many ways the Matthew Stafford trade, which, they got Jared Goff in that trade. That obviously was a big piece of it, which isn't happening here. But getting a bunch of draft picks, that's a start.
Yeah. No, it is a start. So I definitely like it. And, they have an opportunity now with these 2 picks, the 2 picks from the Cowboys. Like, I mean, they can, those should be 6 starters, 4 starters, over the next 2 years, plus their own first and second round picks the next 2 years. So you're looking at a lot of high leverage picks that should be good players going forward. So, I mean, obviously half the battle is going to be drafting those players, but I think that is a really, really good outcome for what you want as a start over point. So we'll see what it looks like for the Jets going forward. They got a lot of changes they got to make. They got to get better. But the Colts is also very interesting too. This team felt like they desperately needed a corner help. I don't think corner was their strongest position even before the injuries, and now the injuries are just adding to it. So getting a guy like Sauce Gardner in the building, I mean, this team has been awesome offensively for all this season, except for Pittsburgh last week. Defensively, they've been pretty rock solid, and now they're adding an elite corner to that group. I mean, there's a lot to like about from this Colts team.
Yeah. You think about if Tre'Davious Ward can get back and be healthy towards the playoffs. I mean, Ward, Sauce Gardner on the outside with Kenny Moore as your number 3 corner. Like that's about as good of a corner trio as you're going to get. If everyone's healthy, which is an if. But yeah, I agree. It's a position of need, and I don't know. I think Sauce Gardner is really good. I don't think this is kind of what elite players go for, right? If they're 25 years old. And I think a couple underrated aspects that I like about this. For one thing, the Colts do basically exactly what Robert Saleh did defensively. So like from a scheme perspective, this is like where we've seen Gardner have his best years. And also Gardner's locked up until the 2030 season. And you don't have to pay him the signing bonus because that's already been paid by the Jets. So it's like $26 million a year up until that. That feels like a bargain for an elite level player. The thing is, this is kind of your team now, right? Like if you need another piece, you can't use a first round pick to get it. Daniel Jones is your quarterback now, and you're gonna have to sign him this offseason. Sauce Gardner, he better still be good Sauce Gardner. Like that's just, you're going all in if a team that some people feel as though is not a team to go all in on. But I don't know. I mean, sometimes you got to make a move.
Yeah, I don't mind taking a chance. Why not? I think this team's going to be good. They're probably going to be good next year too, as long as things continue to move it the way they're moving. So I don't see the reason why you shouldn't take this chance and see what happens. So really, really good job by the Colts. I like it for both sides. And the other one I like too was like I said, the Seahawks trade. I thought that was really interesting. Rashid Shaheed, I thought was the most realistic receiver on the market. I know people had brought up like Jalen Waddle, Chris Olave, AJ Brown. Those didn't really seem realistic in my eyes. And they go and get him. And I mean, I think it's not only this passing offense has looked really good and gets even better. You're looking at guys like Tony Horton last week getting 2 touchdowns and playing significant snaps. Like you're getting a guy here that should help. And you're getting a guy who I also think complements your receivers already really well. Like you think of what Kupp and Jackson Smith and Jigba can do. You just think the speed over the top for Shaheed should complement those 2 guys extremely well when they're healthy and playing.
Yeah. That's a perfect fit. You can argue it's a 4th and a 6th, 2 picks for Rashid for 1 year, for half a season of Rashid Shaheed. Is that too much? But again, this year feels so wide open. I almost wonder if we're going to get more of these types of trades, A, because just the deadline's later, but B, because the way football has shifted, having a star quarterback is such like a cheat code to get to the Super Bowl that like sometimes maybe the way to do it is build up a team that's like really good, like the Colts, like the Seahawks, and then just also trade assets to get you over the top that way.
Yeah. Yeah, if you feel like you have the opportunity, you're not paying a ton of money on your quarterback, you should go all in. You should go for it. And they are paying a little bit still for Sam Darnold, but it's not nearly what superstar quarterback money is at this point. So yeah, I think that they should absolutely go all in, and it's a great opportunity for them.
Yeah. All right, Kyle. Well, let's get into the preview show. A lot to get to. Still 14 games to preview. As Kyle, due to the Cowboys struggling, that means that currently I still have maintained this 1-point lead. We are on this all-time run of missing our locks. Kyle, give me a game first.
All right. A couple pretty competitive games at the top for sure. I was going to ask you, did the Jaguars at Texans line move?
Yeah, I can check that real quick.
No worries. I
yeah.
will. I'm not going to give it to you first, anyways, but I just wanted
Okay.
to make sure because that was Texans -1.5, and
Right.
I don't think that would be the case anymore. But I'm going to give you the headline game, the on the sideline bowl, the game I definitely don't want to pick. Let's go Patriots at Bucks.
Patriots at Bucks. I like it. And Kyle, we have been missing our locks so frequently. I think I have to be strategic here and lock up the New England Patriots to win this game. That is my pick. Either hey, I get a lock finally right, or my team wins. And this is perfect. The perfect time for a lock right up the start.
I know you're rooting for your lock winning over your Buccaneers, right? You care more about this game, our
Of course.
contest, than your own football team.
Yes.
Shame. Um,
But now you got to root for your team to lose though, because you want to make sure my lock misses.
no, I'm okay. Yeah, I mean, obviously you're doing some reverse jinxing here, and I don't appreciate it.
This is a great move by me. I mean, you can't deny this was one of the all-time great moves in the On the Sideline podcast history.
Yeah, it's up there for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I think that you have. I don't appreciate this, and we'll see how it goes. But I was going to pick the Patriots in this game. I think the Patriots still, because of the Buccaneers' injury issues, it seems like that we still haven't got practice out of Bucky Irving. We still haven't got a practice out of Chris Godwin. So we're down to Emeka Egbuka, Tej Johnson, Cade Otton as the reinforcements. The offensive line still isn't healthy for Tampa Bay. So there's just enough issues there offensively that I think I'm still going to lean New England just as the healthier team. These are two of the best run defenses in football. The Patriots are on a record-setting run defense pace at this point with the amount of guys they're holding under 50 yards rushing. I expect that to continue. Baker has been terrific this year, and even when he's been, Baker's been terrific this year. We'll see how it looks when the Patriots make them a little bit more one-dimensional, but he's been really, really good. So I still expect him to hit a few plays, but I think just the combination of not giving up anything in the run game, and the Patriots, while they have given up, yards and points to passing games this season, they're not giving up a whole lot of like big chunk plays. And I think that's something that the Buccaneers have really thrived off of, especially when Baker works his magic. And I just think New England's going to be able to limit those as much as he can.
Yeah, it's interesting. I do think that I think I agreed. Like on a play-by-play basis, I think I'm leaning New England, and I think that would be my pick even without the jokes aside. We did the guess the lines thing. I thought the Patriots were going to be favored heading into this game. I think I lean that way. The one concern I would have if I'm a Patriots fan, which this week I am because I locked them up, is the turnovers. Right, we saw that kind of against Atlanta, where that really let Atlanta get back into the game. Tampa Bay is a defense kind of built around turning the ball over, and like usually when you say if this team wins the turnover battle, they could win, it's kind of like, well, yeah, obviously. But this feels like a game where it's very possible for the Buccaneers to win a turnover battle. Now the Patriots. Like Drake May's been good at not throwing interceptions this year and not putting the ball in harm's way, but last week was kind of an exception. But like just in general, for a team that loves to fumble, you don't want to have to go up against Tampa Bay.
Yeah, and the offensive line definitely had some issues last week against Atlanta, which is not something that I was expecting. Granted, some of these sacks that Drake May is, he is someone who likes to try and extend plays and make things happen. A lot of these sacks definitely are on him too. So it's not all the offensive line's fault, but it's going to be a much bigger problem against Tampa Bay, especially if Hassan Reddick's out there with Yaya Diaby and all those guys. That is a much better pass rush, much more formidable group. Plus, you have Todd Bowles pulling the strings up back there too as the coach with his blitzing scheme. So it's definitely going to be a big problem if he's not able to take care of that. But if he can withstand those blitzes, he's going to have a lot of opportunities to throw. And I still think that this Patriots offense has looked really good. Hopefully, Kayshon Boutte is able to play in this game, but I'm hoping that there is enough depth with this group, with Matt Collins, with Demario Douglas, with Hunter Henry, with Austin Hooper, and Stephon Diggs to still get enough out of this group and still move the ball offensively.
Yeah, I could see this being kind of a low-scoring game. I think both defenses could do well here.
Yeah. I think so too. I think there's a good chance of it. You know, Patriots do have their own injury issues too. Like I said, I mentioned Butte. He's still questionable after getting hurt last week. Ramondre Stevenson didn't play last week. We'll see if he's able to go. And then defensively, Christian Gonzalez got hurt towards the end of the game. So we'll see if he's able to go. That would be a big loss still. Even with Tampa's receiver issue at injuries, they would still like to have him out there, obviously.
Yeah. Obviously. So it should be a fun one. Oh, we should have mentioned this at the beginning of the show. But unfortunately, there will be no podcast this Sunday, so we won't be able to recap it immediately after. But eventually we'll be able to recap the On the Sideline Bowl.
Yeah, we'll talk about it Wednesday for sure.
Yeah. One other just I think thing to note with the Patriots versus the Buccaneers. The Patriots a little bit under average at blitzing. A thing that's worth noting is the Buccaneers actually have dominated when you don't blitz them and have sometimes struggled when you do blitz them. I wonder if that's maybe something the Patriots, who are known for, I feel like, changing their strategy to play Tampa Bay. I wonder if they'll blitz more in this game, or to play their opponent. I wonder if they'll blitz more in this game.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely an option. They've been doing a really good job of getting pass rush with the four guys. So if they want to adjust, I think there's an opportunity for it. But we'll see how they adjust that game plan.
Yeah. Well, let's move on, Kyle. Time for me to give you a game. I'm going Steelers Chargers. The favored Chargers playing the Pittsburgh Steelers, who are coming off a big win. Who do you got?
Yeah, interesting game. The Chargers are favored. No one fell for the cart girl act of last week. Steelers did look good though. We'll see if this Steelers defense has fixed itself. I think there is obviously a case for it. I think overall though, once again, because we have an injured offensive tackle in Joe Alt, we have Trevor Penning, who they traded for, which I'm not expecting a whole lot, stepping in that spot. I am going to have to go to the Steelers, though, because we've just seen this Chargers offense struggle without Joe Alt and Trey Pipkins and all those guys out there, Bobby Hart, Mekhi Becton. When they've had their starters out there, they've been pretty good. But when they haven't, that's been a problem. And we're already missing their two best starters because Slater was out preseason. I think that's just too much to overcome there for the Chargers.
Kyle, I don't. All of a sudden, it's hey, the cart girl. She seemed to enjoy our conversation today. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. We're back in. I'm buying a double. I'm buying my third double of the round. Just trying to.
Yeah, she totally upsold you right away.
Yeah,
100%.
Yeah, just trying to milk every second I am at that cart. Yeah,
I don't know. Picking the underdog Steelers.
Yeah, here I am. I mean, I don't know. I just think that it's, we've just seen the track record for this team. I don't know how we expect it to change at this point. This was another team that I thought could have made some more aggressive moves at the deadline. You don't know what was available, but, they're down 3 running backs. They're down they add Trevor Penning, which I don't think is enough. And then, they're down several defensive players at this point too. So it's a tough season for Los Angeles as far as the injury goes.
Yeah, and especially when you factor in just the the Patriots pass rush looks so good last week. That just feels like it's not
Steelers.
Steelers pass rush looks so good last week. That just feels like it's not a good matchup. And if the Steelers can rush the passer, their offense is playing very well. I agree. I'm on Pittsburgh, but given that the Chargers are favored, I gave you the game. But yeah, that one could be interesting. Should be interesting.
It should be a good one still. Yeah, it is a two teams still hopeful to make the playoffs. I think both teams can make the playoffs and should be talking themselves into it. Mm-hmm. It's still just this is a competitive game for both of them for sure.
Yeah, let's move on. Also, I'll mention the original line was Texans -1.5. It's flipped to Jaguars -1.5 now.
Jaguars -1.5. All right. Well, we'll go with the Browns at Jets.
Okay, yeah, the other game everyone wants to talk about here, Browns Jets. We can save some time maybe with this one. I mean, I guess I'll pick the Browns here. They're 2.5-point favorites. They do have a good defense. Like, I don't trust this offense, but at least against the Jets, and the Jets missing now Quinnen Williams and Sauce Gardner, this should be a game where the offense can at least do some stuff. So, and also, I believe this is the updated line. So, it's this is the updated line. This feels like the kind of game where the Jets, still figuring out how to live without your two best defensive players, could struggle here.
Yeah. Are these the two most unhappy teams? I think we got reports of several guys from both of these teams not being happy that they weren't traded.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know if I've ever.
Brees
What
Hall,
was,
it was like his friends had left prison or something, and he was by himself. It's like, it's like I'm happy for my friends, but I wish it was me too. It's like
yeah.
you're just on a different team. You just didn't get traded.
Yeah, he wasn't happy. Who else? David Njoku wasn't happy. A lot of unhappy guys here, I guess. So
If guys want to be traded, just trade them. Why is this difficult?
yeah, especially if you're like Cleveland, like you have a
Yeah.
stud tight end. Your better
Right.
tight end is your other tight end. Just trade Njoku and get what you can.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. So it's definitely a weird one. And then Brees Hall, I mean, like, yeah, trade a running back for a fourth. So apparently they were like wanting a third and like weren't budging on it. And Kansas City offered a fourth for Brees Hall. That was the rumor I heard. Like, just take a 4th round pick. Like, are you serious?
Yeah. Although I will say, if you're saying we want a third, and Kansas City is like, well, we'll give you a fourth. That's different than like if Dallas is saying we'll give you a fourth.
They're 5-4. They're probably it's not like it's going to be the last pick of the 4th round.
It might be.
It'd be crazy if they got the 1 seed at this point.
Well, you don't have to. If you win the Super Bowl, you get the further you go in the playoffs, it bumps your pick back.
Oh, that's right.
Football.
Yeah, you're right. Okay. Yeah,
but you get you get the idea. Either way, they should have still said yes. But
Yeah, I'm gonna pick the Browns too. I know it's not my pick, but I agree with you. And I have nothing else on this game. I hope nobody watches this.
Okay, I hope. I hope. Shout out to everyone who bought tickets to this game and has a Sauce Gardner or Quinton Williams jersey,
and is still going to the game. That's the more important part.
Yeah, those are real. Well, I will say, whenever when the Bucks were terrible, I would specifically pick out the games that like they're playing someone else who's terrible because, like, hey, could win this one, got a chance here.
So you're saying there's a chance?
Yeah, this is. I mean, if you're a Jets fan, this is your Super Bowl right here.
Yeah, it's up there. Although they beat the Bengals. I mean, they got nothing to lose now.
Right, you're right. Yeah, I guess you don't want to win. Actually, that's the real thing. This could be a
tank off.
Yeah, this absolutely is.
Shedeur Sanders against Tyrod Taylor.
Yeah, stuff like, hey, if the Browns want to try to get the number 1 overall pick, losing to the Jets here, that's be a big loss for them.
Yeah. All right, we talked about this game too much. Let's move on.
Let's move on. Kyle, time for me to give you a game. I am going to give you Eagles taking on the Green Bay Packers, Monday Night Football. Another, good couple good primetime games this week.
Yeah, this is an interesting game. I am going to lock up the Philadelphia Eagles. I don't understand why they're the underdogs here, even at Lambeau Field. I know Green Bay's played their best games against their best opponents this season, but I still think that there's enough holes in this Green Bay Packer run defense. They didn't look good last week, and Philadelphia coming off a bye, I think is enough to give me the reason to pick them. And, they're going to be more rested and ready to go. So I got Philadelphia winning this one. Yeah,
I'm with you. And it's not that I don't think Green Bay stands a chance in this game because they have just been so inconsistent that it's like, what Green Bay are you going to get? But Vegas has just been all in on Green Bay this whole season. And in a way, I don't really understand. Last week we talked about this, but I'm like, why are they 13.5-point favorites against Carolina? Like, this is like that's not like they're acting like Green Bay is undefeated and Carolina hasn't won a game yet. And now here it's like, Philadelphia really should be the favorites in the NFC probably. And we're looking at them. They're underdogs. I get you're on the road, but then make it, if they're underdogs by 1.5 points, I kind of get it. This is 2.5 points. It's just confusing.
Yeah. I mean, they just gave up 163 rushing yards on 4.9 yards per carry. Rico Dowdle had 2 touchdowns. They're going against Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley. I know Saquon's questionable, but I haven't seen any update. I'm assuming he's playing. I think the Eagles should be able to run on them. I think they should be able to throw on them. I think that Green Bay has the issues on both sides on defense with certain spots. And I think corner and interior defensive line are the 2 issues specifically. And I think Philadelphia is really going to take advantage of those. Those are things you can't be bad at against Philadelphia.
Right. I do think, I guess the one thing you look at is I think Green Bay could run the ball against the Eagles as well. The Eagles sometimes by design don't stop the run. I guess in this game they probably will. So I don't know. I mean, when Green Bay's offense is playing at its best, it's been like a top offense in the league. I mean, that's like there is
Mhm.
that potential. Like, again, Philadelphia has also played very well defensively for most of their games. But if this line is just flipped, I'm like, yeah, sure, this could go either way.
Yeah.
It's weird that the Packers are favored.
Yeah, that's just the thing. Like, if I just need the Eagles to win, I feel pretty good about that.
Hmm.
If it was a field goal the other way, I wouldn't lock it.
Right. This was also my lock. Before my plan was I wanted to lock up Patriots Buccaneers, but if it went too long in the show, I was going to lock this one up instead.
That's fair.
Yeah. Should be interesting. Only 4 games in, and we're half an hour through the show, so I might have to move ahead here. Any other thoughts on this game?
No, this is another one I'm looking forward to, and like I
Yeah.
said, I think that both of these teams are still trying to size themselves up. I know Green Bay, like I said, they've played really good in their big games this season. We'll see if it continues against a team that I just don't think is a good matchup for them.
It'd be so funny if they win this game. The Packers win just to
Yeah,
completely confuse everyone.
like completely convincingly too.
Yeah, exactly. Win by like 40.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's gonna happen. Kyle, let's move on. Well, and you locked up the Eagles, so it's definitely gonna happen. Kyle,
yeah.
let's move on. Time for you to give me a game.
All right. We don't love picking division games here. So we're going Rams at Niners.
Okay, Rams. Wow, a little surprised here, but I mean, it's true. The division matchup concerns me. The fact that the Niners won last time these two teams played concerns me. Granted, that was a Thursday night game, and if it's not for a late fumble, the Rams pull it off. I'm going to pick the Rams to win this one. I think the Rams have just been playing really good football as of late. And the 49ers are another one of those teams where it feels like if they can keep everything on script and they can avoid their weaknesses and scheme around their weaknesses and make everything work well, they're going to have success. But because of their injuries, it just feels like if something goes wrong, the floodgates open. And I just think that, like, for the Rams, this feels like a game where they are, they're rightfully favored. And again, I get it. Just look at what happened a few weeks ago. But I think I have to pick the Rams here.
I think I would too. Granted, they just played, they played each other week 5. 49ers won. Kyle Shanahan has had a lot of success in this matchup, and I think that's another part of it.
Yeah.
But the Rams have played lights out football. So we'll see how it shakes out there. But we just saw this game. Mac Jones, I was gonna say, like, it feels like a game that you would rather you would want Brock Purdy playing just because this defensive line for the Rams. But Mac Jones just threw for 342 yards and 2 touchdowns against this team. It's not like it's that bad of a situation. And he didn't have Jawan Jennings in that game, and he didn't have George Kittle, and he didn't have Ricky Pearsall. But it sounds like Pearsall still isn't going to play. But he didn't have all those guys, and he still had that lights out game. So, like, I don't know. Maybe he is set up for this game. Maybe they are prepared to play this. I think this 49ers offense is still pretty good. It's not as good as it's been in the past because they're still missing guys, but they still have enough pieces there for sure.
Yeah, and it's a good point. Like, I think the 49ers being able to put up points in this game would not surprise me. If you remember, after this game, there was the whole, like, should Mac Jones be a starter? Should we go back to Brock Purdy? That was like a thing people were saying. I think the answer was like, okay, no, Purdy's still the guy. But it was a question that came out because of how Purdy played. I will say how Jones played, excuse me. Another guy who played last time they played, though, was Fred Warner, and he's not out there anymore. And I just feel like he matters so much in a matchup like this that with Matthew Stafford, who still had a good game last time they played, you just feel like they're going to move the ball effectively in this one. So, again, last time they played, it was turnovers was the difference. The 49ers didn't turn the ball over. The Rams turned the ball over twice. The Rams had 7.1 yards per play. The Niners had 4.9. But again, that's ironic. They had 4.9 yards per play. But again, I think this game could flip either way. I totally get why you're giving me it because, who knows with these two teams.
Yeah, exactly. So I think it's going to be fascinating, but always a great divisional game, this one.
All right, well, let's go to, I thought you were going to give me this divisional game. Jaguars-Texans, two, I don't know what you are teams right now, of the Jaguars who finally got off the losing streak last week with a 1-point overtime victory over the Raiders. That's the worst way you can describe a win ever, right? Is a 1-point overtime victory against the Raiders. But hey, a win is a win. The Texans have looked better. Their defense is awesome, but this, they won't have CJ Stroud. Kyle, where are you going here?
Yeah, and I think that's just the big thing for me. I know this defense is awesome. They're going to keep this game close. They're going to keep a lot of Texans games close, honestly, because it is such a good defense with all these pieces. I love Kamari Lassiter, Derek Stingley. They have all that stuff going for them, but I just don't trust this offense to be able to move the ball. I thought it was really starting to come together with CJ Stroud out there. And when he came out, it looked like the old Texans offense, but even worse because Davis Mills isn't CJ Stroud. So I'm just not optimistic for that. I think the Texans are going to really struggle to score points. I think they could be held to single digits here, and that's why the Jaguars win.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I will say this was actually a competitive game the last time this is another game where they played each other before. It was 17-10 Jacksonville. It really came down to the wire, and I feel like both quarterbacks were trying to throw it away at the end there. So like if you want to do just look at last game but swap out Davis Mills for CJ Stroud. For last time they played, it might not have been a bad thing because it wasn't a great CJ Stroud game. So like maybe it shows you can be competitive in a game like this, even if you don't have great quarterback play. Obviously you would rather have CJ Stroud out there. But yeah, I mean Nico Collins had 100 yards in that game. No Travis Hunter, although they were still figuring out Travis Hunter at that point. So trying to compare it probably isn't totally fair. I will say though, like Travis Hunter was on defense, Tyson Campbell was on defense. Like, I don't know. They're really different teams right now.
Yeah, they are. And yeah, to be fair, I'm not comparing the two sides. I'm looking at a team that still is Jacksonville with a very good defensive line with Trayvon Walker, Eric Armstead, and Josh Hines-Allen. I still think they have good players in the secondary despite all that. Like, I like Greg Newsome. I think they got good players across the board there without Hunter even. And they still got Devin Lloyd and Olakon in the middle. I still think it's a pretty good defense. Not a great defense, but as it was earlier in the season, but I still think it's a pretty solid defense against a Texans team that I just think has too many issues offensive line and now has a major quarterback issue. So, if it was a long neck contest, I'd pick Davis Mills, but I just can't pick him to move in this game.
Yeah, but most like a giraffe would probably go Jacksonville's way. I think the running game too. Jaguars have defended the run really well this season. You think that the Texans will try and run the ball with a backup quarterback. Davis Mills is going to have to make some throws. That's just it. If the Texans are going to pull off this victory in a game that feels, one of the most important games of the week between these two teams, right? With 5-3 Jaguars, Texans at 3-5, kind of need this one if they're going to stay in it. And the Jaguars need this one if they're going to stay in a playoff spot right now. It feels like a huge game, and yeah, it's going to come down to, not to be oversimplistic, but it probably will come down to the quarterbacks. Can Davis Mills do what's asked, and can Trevor Lawrence not screw it up?
Yeah. Are the Texans done if they lose this game?
Let's see. So they would be. I gotta look at their schedule. They would be 3-6. They play the Titans next week. Okay, that's a win. But he played the Bills and the Chiefs still on the schedule, and the Colts twice. Yeah, they might be done if they win this game. I think absolutely this feels like a must win. You win it, you can get the 5-5, and then you have a chance. But yeah, I think yes, this is a must win.
Yeah, it feels like you could just chalk up 3 or 4 losses there. If they're at 3-6, you're not making the playoffs at that point.
Yeah, I agree. Should be a fun one. Let's move on. Let's go to I don't have my notes up. Okay, Kyle, time for you to give me a game.
Oh yeah, that was the next game. Let's see here. So let's go with what was next on my list? Oh, Giants at Bears. Yeah, this has to be the next game.
Yeah. Okay. Also was next on my list. I am picking the Bears. I don't think the thing is, like, what Chicago just did last week has to be a little bit concerning. I mean, I know that they ultimately got the win, and for morale and everything, you feel good about it, but they did really come close to blowing that game. Granted, there's no T. Higgins. There's no Jamar Chase. I think the defense will play better. Hard to play a lot worse, but I think the defense will play better in this game. Jackson Dart's very fun, but again, as a wise woman once said, he can't throw it and catch it, Kyle. I think that this is I think this will be, I think you have to pick Chicago here.
You have to pick Chicago, but this passing game has been all right for all the pieces they're missing. Like, they've actually done okay the last few weeks. I feel like the Bears, the Office episode where they're sitting around, I think Michael left the office. So they have the debate, is Hillary Swank hot?
Sure.
And they're all casting their votes. I feel like that's me with trying to figure out if the Chicago Bears are good.
Yeah.
Like, I just, the Chicago Bears being good is the NFL's equivalent of is Hillary Swank hot? Is my question.
So you're saying
I
are the
don't.
Chicago Bears hot?
Yes. I don't know if this team's good. In fact, I probably would say they're not good. But here they are at 5-3 and in a playoff spot, or close to a playoff spot. By tiebreaker, they are not. And I just am so unconvinced by this team. So I don't. I think I would pick I would pick the Bears. I think you have to pick the Bears given all the issues with the Giants. But this is not a crazy upset game to me. I think the Giants have still played well despite all their issues with injuries, and they still got a good defensive line and just things that I think can cause some problems.
Yeah, I agree. I don't fully they spent a draft pick on Joe Tryon-Shoyinka. I don't know what that's going to help out with at this point. Like, I guess just other than a body that you can play. Like, I think ultimately this has been a very good season and a step in the right direction for the Chicago Bears. But like, I don't see how you can look at this and feel anything other than like, I mean, it is what it is. When your secondary gets injured, like, you're not going to play very well. The offense has done all right. I would say it's been good, and it's probably gonna have another good game here. But I just think that the Giants, it's like, even with the passing attack doing what it can do with Jackson Dart, I still just don't think there's enough here to feel comfortable with the Giants. Again, things could flip the other way, but yeah, I don't know. Kyle, the Chicago Bears have a very real chance to be second in the division and tied for first with after this week. If the Packers lose to the Eagles and the Bears win, the Lions will probably win, but you're looking at tied for first in the division with only one other team if you can pull off this one.
Yeah, that's a scary thought.
Yeah, who would have thought?
They're gonna win this division somehow. That's what's gonna happen.
I don't know about that. Think they'll probably not do that.
You never know. There's always a chance.
Sure, there's always a chance. I mean, like, what? You're at 5 wins. You beat the Giants. Can you beat Minnesota the second time? That would put you at 7. Can you beat the Steelers? Maybe you have the Browns. Maybe you split this against the Packers. Like, it's getting to 10 wins is going to be tough here for the Bears. But again, it's a step in the right direction.
Yes, it is a step in the right direction. I think Ben Johnson, while the expectations were incredibly unfair, I think he's been very good.
Yeah,
or additive.
I agree. Any other thoughts? Or ready to move on?
No, we can move on.
Okay, Kyle, time for me to give you a game. Well, I'll give you, let's go Ravens-Vikings here. I think the Ravens, a team that, with Lamar Jackson, look all the way back, but there still have been question marks this season with them. Minnesota has, also had a really good game with J.J. McCarthy getting their quarterback back. They're able to beat the Lions. Another game where both these teams really kind of feel like they have to have it. Who do you think will win this one?
Yeah, I think both teams do have to have it. I mean, more so Baltimore just because they are still in a hole and have to dig themselves out. Mm-hmm. Lamar Jackson's on the field, so I'm picking the Ravens. I think that is just how I view this team. Yeah. He changes a lot. I think the Brian Flores scheme is still very good. Obviously, he's a great defensive coordinator. I don't think it works as well against Lamar Jackson when he can just escape everybody. So I think he's gonna have success in this game, and I think Lamar's gonna be the difference.
Yeah, well, I do remember there was that year when Brian Flores, when the Dolphins weren't that good, and you might be saying that's not very that's not helping us out too much. But when there was a year when the Dolphins weren't very good, and they were playing the Ravens, who were very good, and the Dolphins just played cover zero blitz like left and right. And that was kind of like, can Lamar Jackson beat the blitz game, which is silly because no one can beat a cover zero blitz. Your receivers have to win, and his receivers couldn't win. So I do wonder if we see that again here. Does Minnesota try and contain Lamar, keep him in the pocket? Yeah. If that happens, might be just like a big Zay Flowers game or something. I think I think in this matchup, the Ravens are much better suited to win if Flores goes in with that kind of strategy.
Yeah, I mean, they have good receivers. They have Andrews and likely at tight end too. They have Zay Flowers, like you said. So they have options there. And I would surmise that Lamar Jackson is probably a little bit better at handling those situations now than he did back then when Brian Flores was the head coach of the Dolphins.
Yeah, I would say so as well. Dolphins run defense, the Vikings run defense played better last week, but it's still not something I fully trust either. So you think the Ravens offense should play well, but can Minnesota keep up with this Ravens team that, again, past 2 weeks, defense has looked a lot better, but still, over the course of the season, it has not.
No, it hasn't looked good over the course of the season. You still have, JJ McCarthy played relatively well last week, and I thought he did some good things. And you still have Justin Jefferson out there that can create matchup problems. So there is a chance Minnesota still moves the ball and ends up scoring in this game too, keeping up with Baltimore. But is it going to be enough? I don't know.
Yeah, should be a fun one. Let's move on. Kyle, give me a game.
All right, next on my list we have the I think I got to go Cardinals at Seahawks.
Yeah, was next on my list as well. This weird Cardinals team all of a sudden. The team that has came back and gotten a victory. I just think Seattle's really good. I just think Seattle's the team that you kind of have to look at as as the favorites in this one. Now, again, another example of teams that have played each other before this season. It was a competitive game. It came down to the wire. Remember, Seattle had a big lead. Marvin Harrison Jr. was struggling. Everyone's saying, what's going on with him? All of a sudden, he gets red hot in the fourth quarter. They tied a game, but then Jackson Smith and Jigba play. The Seahawks ultimately win. That was on Thursday Night Football as well. And again, it was a different quarterback. Kyler Murray played. I know the numbers aren't great because he had a couple picks that weren't his fault, but he played well in that game. So, we'll see what happens with Brissett there. But again, I just think what Seattle's doing right now, they're playing amazing defense and amazing offense. I don't think Arizona's like a 3-5 bad team, but I don't think they're as good as Seattle is.
No, they're not. And I mean, we just saw what the Seattle team did to bad cornerback team, and Arizona does not have amazing corners either. They've played decent, but I think it's the one thing is, like, we continue to say, like, the Sam Darnold thing. He's played so well this season. But we have seen him even in the game last week. The moment he got under pressure, he did throw an interception. It was just like one bad throw of the game. So Josh Wood and Calais Campbell, could they cause enough pressure to make him force some mistakes? There's a possibility for that. But the Seattle team just feels like a buzzsaw right now. I think they're just better at – I think Arizona's decent. I agree. I just think Seattle's better at every phase of the game, though.
Yeah, it's not a bad pick just because it is a divisional matchup. The Cardinals are kind of a cornered animal team right now, and you have a new quarterback. Like, you have been playing better as of late. So I get it. Again, I just think it's a tough draw for Arizona, who kind of wasted the easy part of their schedule, not playing very well, and now they have the tough part of the schedule, and it's going to be tough. But yeah, I mean, I guess what's the path? The pathway, I think, is just if you can get Trey McBride and Marvin Harrison Jr., who, by the way, Marvin Harrison Jr. has played really well as of late. Like, you get those guys playing good football. I think that's the way, if you can try and pass and keep up and like you said, generate some maybe big defensive plays with the pass rush.
Yeah, I think that would have to be the pathway. You have to put Sam Darnold on his butt, and you have to make some plays with your passing game. I think those are the two successes, because you're not going to be able to run on this defensive line for Seattle, and you don't have the running backs anyways. And I think Jacoby Brissett, I think he's done a very good job throwing the ball, especially over the middle of the field during this stretch. And I think you're going to have to get McBride and Harrison Jr. involved.
Do you think Brissett was a little bit like, oh, would have been nice if Kyler could play this week? Get a ride off under the sunset after playing Dallas, like get a big contract next year?
Another backup quarterback job. Here we go.
Yeah, I think he could have think this. I don't know. We'll see. I mean, I'm sure he wants to play. I'm sure that he's viewing this as maybe a chance to, to be a starter somewhere else in the future.
Not New England anymore, but somewhere else in the future.
Probably not. Probably not the Colts either. But we'll see. I mean, maybe the Daniel Jones thing falls apart. I don't know. Kyle, let's move on. Time for me to give you a game. I'm going with another divisional matchup. The Saints go into Carolina, a tough place to play, to try and take on the 5-4 Carolina Panthers. Who do you got?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be the Panthers. This would have been my second lock pick.
Wow, you would have locked. Didn't you already lock up the Panthers and it went horribly wrong? Or was that
it did? Okay. But look, I mean, this is one of these teams is bad and the other team is competent, and I'm going to take the competent team over the bad team. The only reason why I wouldn't lock it is just because this Panthers offense, well, it's played decently well when Bryce Young's out there. It's just not explosive. So, like, winning by a touchdown still feels like a lot sometimes. Even last week they played well and won by 3. Granted, that was the Packers, so it was a good win. But they're just not explosive. But I just don't see how the Saints move the ball in this game. I don't see how they move the ball in a lot of games to begin with. Without Rashid Shaheed now, they're missing their number 2 receiver. So, yeah, I think the Panthers win this one comfortably.
Yeah, it is hilarious. The Panthers' past 5 wins. Of it's like you're 4-1, and like that alone is like awesome. And you look at the 4 wins, it's like okay, 3-point win against the Packers, that's impressive. But then it's losing by 31 to the Bills, that's their loss, and then beating the Jets by 7, the Cowboys by 3, and the Dolphins by 3. And it's like wins are wins. And like I don't want to I do think the Panthers are decent, but it's like the Homer Simpson meme of like 4-1, and then like you see like the back like all like curled up, and it's the like who they've actually played.
Yeah, I mean they've been blown out twice, so I mean they still have a minus 35 point differential, and they're over 500. Like
it's just like there's one of those teams where I was talking about San Francisco. It's like if they can play their style and they can run the ball consistently and like force you to try and throw the ball, like they're gonna play pretty well. But like if they get down like 10, like they're in trouble. Granted, I'm with you. I think they're better than the Saints. I think they'll win this game. And I've been on the. I don't know. I'm being negative because I've been on the Panthers are better than. I've been on the Panthers are decent train for a bit now. I had to get off it for a moment when they lost by 31 to the Bills, but we're back on it.
Yeah, there are 2 teams over 500 with a minus point differential. Do you know who they are?
Let's see. I'm trying to
actually 3 teams. Sorry,
3 teams. Okay. I'm trying to think who I have the schedule. I'm just looking to get away from the screen. Can you tell me what conference are they in?
We have 2 NFC. Obviously, the Panthers. We have an NFC and an AFC team.
Okay. Let's see. I'm trying to think. I'm kind of blanking on what teams play football right now. So that's Benedict. Are the Falcons are I don't know. This is bad podcasting. Me trying to figure it out. So just tell me.
Yeah, it is the Jaguars and the Bears. So we talked about both of them, trying to figure out if they're good. The Panthers had the lowest of those 3, but all 3 of them are over 500 with a negative point differential. I was just looking at it. Arizona and Houston are the only teams under 500 with a positive point differential. Fun fact.
Gotcha. There you go. Well, I mean, that's not nothing. But yeah, I still think that the Panthers again. They play a style that wins football games. It just I don't think they have the firepower to beat like a great team. But good news is you're playing the Saints. They should win this game. But divisional matchup makes it scary enough that I'd rather have you pick it.
Yeah. I mean, this is a. I think it's the right pick at this point of the show. But yeah, I mean, this Saints team, they look rough. I mean, they don't score. They don't play defense anymore. They had a couple pretty good defensive weeks to begin the year, and they're just not competitive anymore. So yeah, we're at the point now where we trust the Panthers against these teams pretty comfortably. That's the point.
What an opportunity. Panthers 5.5 point favorites. What a moment for them. When's the last time that's happened? And I'll say this too, Kyle. Like I have as a Buccaneers fan, I've looked at the schedules. I've checked. Said, okay, let's see what do the Panthers got coming up. I'm not saying I'm nervous yet, but I paid attention to their record and our record.
You're looking over your shoulder?
Yeah, I'm paying attention. It's like when you're on the highway and there's someone who's driving like 130 and it's like they're way in the back, but I'm like, okay, I know where they are. I'm aware of what's going on. I'm assuming they're going to like get into a car accident behind me and I'll be fine. But like I'm still paying attention to it.
Yeah, that is probably the right thing to do.
Yeah, at least, yeah, I think so. But we'll see. It's been a fun season for Panthers fans.
Yeah, no, I think that they definitely deserve this for sure.
Yes,
let's keep it going.
Spent a while on that game too. Kyle, give me a game. 4 games left.
All right, Thursday night divisional game. The Raiders coming off of one of their best performances of the season until a 2-point conversion attempt. Let's go Raiders at Broncos.
Yeah, a good pick here. I mean, just because of the the Thursday night aspect of it, and it's a divisional game. The Raiders did look a lot better with Brock Bowers out there. That's just a thing that Denver's defense played well, but you have that as a factor. So we'll see. That being said, I feel like whenever Geno Smith has had to make contested throws this season, he's thrown interceptions, and it feels like that will happen again in this one. And I just think the Broncos offense. I just don't trust this Raiders defense at all. I think Sean Payton will have no issues scheming stuff open, and I think the Broncos win. But I do like the Raiders plus 9.5. I think that could flip the other way.
Yeah, it is a big line. It is a bit of a shame that we had basically like whenever the Raiders actually did have all 3 of they had Bowers, Ginty, and Jacoby Myers on the field. Like it wasn't horrendous, and I would even say last week it looked pretty good. And then They immediately trade Jacoby Myers, so now they're
Yeah.
never going to have all three in the field. So,
Uh-huh.
yeah, I agree with you. I think the Denver defensive line is going to be an issue. The Denver secondary is always an issue, and yeah, I think that the Raiders should probably slow down a little bit compared to last week.
The one thing is like Geno Smith kind of has that like same thing like Joe Flacco has, where it feels like veteran quarterbacks sometimes just say, "I'm just going to throw it to my really good player." Like if we're in a bad team, like let's just give our really good player to every single target. And I think that this game, like Brock Bowers will have like at least 10 targets in this game.
As he should. I mean,
Yeah.
I would bet over 10 targets. I would bet like 15.
Yeah. And I'm saying like at least like that's like the floor. That's like if Geno Smith doesn't touch the ball in the first half, like that's like then it'll only be 10.
Yeah, that's fair.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think so. It's like if he gets injured in the first quarter, then it'll only be 10.
Yeah. And then, I mean, of course, the other aspect of this game is like, can Bo Nix play 3 good quarters before the fourth quarter? Because, like, then that might keep the Raiders in it.
Yeah, I mean, divisional matchups are weird. They just are. This has happened. You know, we always say, oh well, no way, this one will be. We always say divisional matchups are weird, and then the second we see Broncos Raiders, like Broncos will win by 1,000,000. Like that's just like we never actually take it into our picks the way we do, but most people don't.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It should be interesting. Let's move on, Kyle. 3 games left. I am going to give you closest line, Falcons, Colts. The Falcons, you know, I'm kind of just picking the best underdog at this point. Falcons are a team that has shown flashes. The Colts are coming off a bad game. Is that a mirage or maybe a sign of things to come? Maybe there's a blueprint out there. Probably not. I don't think that was just such a weird game against the Steelers, but I'll give it to you anyway. Falcons, Colts. Who do you got?
Yeah, it's got to be the Colts. I would bet -6.5 too. Colts are still a really good team. I'm not going to overreact to 1 week. I will say, Atlanta's defensive line looked better than I expected last week. Maybe they can have a little bit of juice there, but this is a whole different level of offensive line that you're facing in Indianapolis. So I think that they should win that way. I think Jonathan Taylor's due for a big game. And yeah, I think the Colts are better, and the Falcons are just incredibly frustrating, and I just think that they're a step below multiple steps below this team right now.
Yeah, it's interesting. We're like, this is the game you want Sauce Gardner for, with Drake London out there. Like, I could see a scenario where Sauce Gardner doesn't have a great game, playing in a new scheme and going up against Drake London, and like people, I could see a lot of hot takes on Twitter, going out if something like this happens. But again, I think that even if you can just get Gardner to compete with Drake London, that's way better than what you would have had prior to this week.
Yeah, Drake London's one of those guys where it's like, he's not a top 5 receiver, but like it almost like doesn't really matter who he's going up against as far as a matchup.
Yeah.
Because he just has a tendency when he's on his game, he's just going to big boy you, and he's just going to box you out and win every matchup. And he was so good at that last week. They're just the absurdity of catches that he and Bijan Robinson were making when they had nothing else going for them was just, especially on the one time they went the full length of the field for a scoring drive, was just 2 or 3 one-handed catches from those 2 guys alone. And it was just like, all right, well, if they're just going to catch all of these, then, tip your cap to them. But they have 2 really, really good players that have the tendency to do things like that.
Yeah. Falcons also have struggled at stopping the run this year. This is not the team you want to play if that's your issue.
Yeah, that is the opposite of what you want.
Yeah, I think the Colts bounce back and have a good game. And again, another game where it's like Falcons need this one to have a chance. What happened with Clapgate last week?
Clapgate?
You're a Patriots fan. Were you on this?
No, what happened? I wasn't paying attention.
I assumed you would know about it. I don't know all the details. There was something where it was like a fourth, or I think it was like a 4th and 1 or something, and Raheem Morris said that a Patriots player was clapping as they were trying to get which caused like a bad snap or a false start or something. And then Raheem Morris said, well, the Patriots were clapping, which is a penalty in the post-game press conference. And then people watched the tape and didn't see anyone clapping. And we're like, what are you talking about? And then he had to like walk it back. It was a weird thing.
Yeah.
I could have gotten that wrong too, because I don't know all the details.
I happily missed that.
Yeah. These are things we talked about an hour into the preview show, Kyle. 2 games left to discuss. It is time for you to give me a game.
Yeah. Look, they just had their biggest game of the regular season, emotional win. Could this be the letdown week potentially? Do they let up off the gas a little bit? Let's go Bills at Dolphins.
Yeah, this is the right pick compared to the other one, which is Lions Balls, because it is a divisional matchup. These teams played each other close, a bit ago. That was Thursday night game again. That adds to the weirdness, but still, like, I don't. The Dolphins have been. They're a bad team, but they're an inconsistent bad team, right? Where it's like they'll have like really bad weeks and then they'll have like solid weeks. So it's like if you get them on their solid week, and like you said, is there a letdown opportunity for the Buffalo Bills? I mean, I think that like what's gonna have to happen is it's gonna have to be like probably a turnover battle thing if the Bills are gonna lose this one. I think the Bills win. I think the Bills are able to run the ball effectively like they were last time. And again, if Tua can have a nice day, things can go well. But was this the game that Tyreek Hill got injured in last time? I think it might have been.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. So like they did have him for a bit in that game. I just think that the Bills have to be a pick here. But yeah, this isn't horrible value. Second to last pick on the show.
Yeah, I mean, there's only two choices, so it had to be the next one of the next two. So, yeah, I mean, I think Buffalo. I like the young guys in the secondary and what they showed last week. We'll see if they can keep that going. I guess the one thing is they won the game by 10 the last time they played, but they also just have this tendency to kind of sit on cruise control, especially with like their passing game when they should be heavily favored and win games. So. Mm-hmm. That might make this closer than the 10-point spread. That's the only thing. James Cook hasn't been practicing. And I mean, honestly, if he's not 100% in this game, I wouldn't play him. So yeah, I think that could play a factor too, because he's been really, really good for them this season. But I still kind of like Ray Davis anyway. So all of that said, Buffalo should win, but Miami can linger a little bit. I guess there's that.
I do think that is I saw someone mention that in the comment after I said Cook could have a good game. I did not realize that, but yeah, that does make a difference. I think James Cook is one of the running backs that makes a difference. But yeah, I think the Ty Johnson Ray Davis combo will do enough. And if Josh
matchup, and
if Josh Allen has to take over, oh no, if you have to throw the ball a lot in this game more than you expected, I think you'll live.
Yeah, that's not the worst thing in the world for the Buffalo Bills to do, for sure. But even then, like you're looking at this offensive line, which is awesome, against the Dolphins defensive line, which lost Jalen Phillips and didn't really have an interior defensive line to begin with anyways. Like, I think I could get 20 yards in this game.
On how many carries?
20 carries.
Okay. Yeah, I think you could. Like, that feels like possible that you could get. Well, the question is just, can you get tackled 19 times?
I think I could withstand 19 tackles, or I would just go down after a yard or something.
Yeah, I think you'd have to be the first running back who's sliding after 2 yards.
Just get my yards and go down.
Yeah, I think so. I think getting tackled by a 300-pound man, I think I could maybe do it 3 or 4 times before I'm not getting up. Yeah,
that's probably fair.
Yeah, I think maybe if corners are tackling, but I'm not getting to the corners. That's not in the cards.
You never know. Might make someone miss and make something happen.
Well, yeah. What if I do it? They're like, oh, you're actually really good at this. Like, maybe you wanna play next week too?
You want to quit podcasting?
Yeah, and then they'll start looking for other podcasters. Maybe it's a trait.
You start the trend podcasters to the NFL.
Yeah. You get like PFT commenter all of a sudden.
You guys going head to head?
I think so. I think that's what's happening. Kyle, we are bored of this game. Let's move on. Lions taking on the Washington Balls. This is a game this is technically your pick. Who are you picking?
Detroit.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was the longest dead air we've had in the show's entire history.
Look, this team's not good. Still don't know if Terry McLaurin's going to play. Marcus Mariota is going to play because Jaden Daniels is going to play for a while. And yeah, this team should give up 1 million points to Detroit. We just saw what the defense looked like. It's a bad thing to have against Detroit? Bad cornerbacks. They have bad cornerbacks, so that is a problem. And yeah, I think Detroit's going to score a lot, and they should win by a lot. I would bet Detroit -8.5.
I would too. I think that, I mean, like, listen, can Mariota in this offense compete against a still injured Lions defense? Sure, they can compete in that situation. I don't think that's out of the question. But it's just like, what's the scenario where this defense doesn't give up 50 points?
The Lions complacency, I guess that would be the only thing.
Yeah, maybe like, I mean, I guess there are good players in the front seven for Washington. Like, if you can get like generate turnovers, I guess that's always the way that can flip things. But like, there always is the pathway. We've done it before where we've talked about the last game, said, how could this go the other way? And then it does. I think turnovers are a big thing. I think maybe if you can stop the run effectively, but again, I don't trust these corners at all. And they're now,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Is the fact that Marshawn Lattimore is injured, is there secretly some unknown new guy who's going to step in and actually play well? I'm not betting on it, but like, is Antonio Hamilton Sr. secretly a diamond in the rough?
Yeah, I mean, you're looking at him and Jonathan Jones and Trey Amos, who I still kind of like. But I mean, look, if you look at this defensive line, the starting defensive line of Preston Smith, Javon Kinlaw, Deron Payne, and Jalen Holmes, the starting defensive line slated for this week on the depth chart has 1 sack combined.
Yeah.
And you have Von Miller. Von Miller is your best pass rusher, which is fine. But like, Von Miller is, 36.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
This, it's not even that they have bad corners. They have a bad front. They have a bad defensive line too. They're bad everywhere.
Yeah.
They
I
have
think
2 good linebackers. That's about it.
Yeah. I think like the defensive line's at least like, I think you can make do if you don't have a great defensive line, if you have a good secondary, but like they just don't have that. Like, like it's just like they can't, like if they could cover long enough, it would be okay. But you're right. It's an issue. I don't know. Former first round pick, Noah Igbenogany. Could he step up?
I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, I mean, this team is just dealing with a lot of injuries defensively, and the guys who were there before weren't playing well, like you said, like Lattimore. But I mentioned that's their starting defensive line, but that's also because Drake Jackson, Dorrance Armstrong, Dietrich Wise are all on IR, and those were guys that they expected more something out of the season, and they had played relatively well. But the new guys in there are just not going to be as impactful.
Yeah. Noah Igbenogany is only 25 years old.
Yeah, I mean, wasn't he a post Super Bowl draft pick for the Chiefs or something?
No, I think he was the Dolphins.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm getting my names mixed up now.
That's okay. Igbenogany, he's a tough name to mix up with someone else.
That's fair.
Yeah. Kyle, let me know where you can find us on Twitter before we head out.
Yeah, make sure to follow us on Twitter. That is at Jackson Kruger. Make sure to follow me at by Kyle Grana. And make sure to follow the account page at On the Sideline JK. That is at On the Sideline JK.
Of course, if you like audio-only podcasts, anywhere you get your podcast, just search On the Sideline Podcast. It should be available there. We'll be back not this Sunday. Again, if you missed the beginning of the show, we're going to miss that week. I'll see if I want to do an Off the Sideline podcast or not. But in the meantime, we will be back next week to do a quick recap of the On the Sideline Bowl and then discuss the preview Week 11. Kyle, we're past the halfway point. Football's going to be over before we know it.
Yep. And Patriots are best team in football right now, so let's keep it going.
I guess they're tied for the best record.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, we'll see if that continues. Or I guess the Buccaneers technically could be tied for best record if a win and some losses from other teams.
Yeah. Let's hope not.
Yeah, we will see. Again, thank you everybody for watching or listening. We'll be back next week. Someone wants you to talk about the Bruins.
Hey, we won yesterday. Leave us alone.
Yeah, Lightning getting hot. That's true. Lightning are back.
Are you back? I haven't even looked at the standings, honestly.
Well, they were so bad to start the year, and they've like gotten back into like a playoff spot.
Yeah, we're back in the mix. We're at 16 points. We're right behind the Red Wings and the Canadiens. I mean, we're third in our division. How dare you, stay stinky Bruins?
Yeah.
We've played more games, but don't worry about that.
Yeah, it's good. Again, thank you everybody for watching. We'll be back next week. Until then, have a good one.
Peace.